Why I feel in the face of all the problems in the world impotent, and why I somehow cannot manage to transform I. Now here we get to the real problem, because we're always telling each other that we should be different. Now I'm not going to tell you that tonight. Why not? Because I know you can't. Nor can I. That may sound depressing, but I'll tell you it isn't. It's very hard. But everybody, you see, who is at all sensitive and awake to their own problems and human problems is trying to change himself. We know we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. So when we are aware of the ego I, we are aware of this chronic tension inside ourselves. And that's not us. It's a futile tension. So when we get the illusion, the image of ourselves, married to a futile tension, you've got an illusion married to a futility. And then you wonder why I can't do anything.
Good morning, everybody. Or afternoon at this point. Evening. Goodness gracious, I took too long today. Hey. Goodness gracious. Let's actually talk about this chart, shall we? Alright, 3D Wave PM is loaded. We're on the 4-hour chart. We got ACAT loaded up. Good morning, everybody. Or afternoon at this point. So, we're going to keep this update quick and short. Goodness gracious, it appears we activated our bearish mean reversion condition. However, in the last 3 months, we've had 3 bearish mean reversion conditions on the 4-hour chart. This one and this one. And then I'm just assuming this is the third. I probably shouldn't do that. I'm sorry. That's bias. That's my bias coming through. I have a bullish bias. Why? Well, because trend is your friend. Let's talk about trend. And entertainingly enough, trend is technically still defined in low resolution. Usually I use higher resolution readings, simply because they're more accurate, which brings front and center one of the problems with the strategy is relativism of time frames. And one way we can escape that is trading the trend. Goodness gracious. So if we have, let's actually record this. Okay. So because we have this clean defined upward trend, the safest and easiest way to cash in on the trend is to simply use quad CCI. Okay? Every time you have your longer periods, which are these blue lines, positively weighted on the CCI, and your 14-period CCI dips below that negative 100 value and crosses back up like so, your safest option is just to take a long. Simple as that. Okay? So, yes, you stopped out of position yesterday. That's fine, right? We had the 605 Bollinger Band over here on this chart, and it was roughly this pivot here, and we broke below, and now we're dipping ourselves back up. And I stopped out of that position, and I'm taking another long. That's absolutely fine. I am betting against the bearish mean reversion condition at this time, simply because we have a strong daily trend, and we have a positive CCI roll. So, retest the previous highs, it's possible. Higher highs, also possible. The fact that we did not break the previous lower low is an excellent sign. I'll show you why here by looking at the BLX chart and previous history of Bitcoin. We are going to zoom back. Oh, beautiful. Because this price action is astonishingly similar to this section here. And let's have a side-by-side comparison, shall we? That scale does not treat well. No matter. We have the initial upward expansion, and actually, I'm going to switch this chart to the 3-day. Okay. Yeah, that after looking at that, that does actually bring up some concern. Right, because we have a compression area range that defines market bottom. Compression area range. In fact, I don't even know why I'm using this fractal here. It's already been invalidated with the break above the weekly 50 moving average, which was here, right? Which was this break at this location. So there is really no reason we should be using that information. I apologize. I was just kind of out of habit to immediately compare it to the previous crash pattern. Well, that's a thought. Let's jump back to present time, shall we? One thing we can do is actually compare it to gold. I don't remember the ticker for the full history of gold. If anyone remembers it, please tell me. XAU, USD. I think it's this one. And I forgot to have charts be independent. Please do not sync symbols. Change this back to BTC USD. Okay. We're going to snap this to the weekly chart over here. What the hell? Those charts are pretty much identical. That's bizarre. I didn't intend for that to happen, but those are super similar charts. Okay. Well, that was unintentional. Let's go to the weekly, or monthly, because we're going to look at really old history. And it looks like I actually got the right ticker. That's good. First try. Alright. I'm going to hide volume candles, and we're going to keep the bands active, just for reference. As we snap ourselves And we're going to change this to the weekly. Ah, beautiful. 4-day maybe? Yeah. Actually, I'm going to say the 3-day is going to... The 2-day maybe. We have the initial bullish expansion, the bull run, which results in significant trend, which is then followed by a compressionary period with a tightening range, followed by a compressionary period with a tightening range. Oh, goodness gracious, what happens then? Downward expansion, and we can actually define that via wave PM. You're going to like this. Right? It's signified by a new plume of mass on the 3D wave PM, which we can see here. Beautiful. On each of these examples. Very nice. And then we have our tight compressionary range. Tight compressionary range, which does what? Oh, it produces this little bubble of compression, which can be seen here. Once that market is restored to a state of relative potential energy, what happens? Well, the resumption of upward trend. So, goodness gracious, what happens? We break the previous high of the compressionary range after a brief compressionary period, which we can see here, right? Here. And then we see the significant higher high with significant wick tagging the 3.2 standard deviation, like so. Oh, goodness, that's really clean, isn't it? And then there is... Wow, hold on. 2 wicks to the downside, one not as low as the other, like so. That's really clean. Let's zoom in on that. Alright, those 2 wicks there. Huh. Which is a tight compressionary period. And then a secondary higher high. That's really clean. And then what follows? Oh. Quite the significant gain. In fact, I am convinced that this might be the bottom of the bear market. Wow. This really gives you some perspective, doesn't it? Actually, let's just... I want to look at these side by side, just get it nice and clean. Ready? Just like that. That's perfect. Alright, that's going to make a great thumbnail. Can't believe I didn't buy gold at... Oh, this is by the gram. I didn't even look at the numbers so far. That's funny. And we're just going to have 2 circles. Actually, I want you to really understand the upside here, because this is insane. Alright, because there's at least an implied 300% upside. Bitcoin breaks to $50,000. Okay. Well, let's actually draw that out, shall we? Let's draw the 2 circles on where we should theoretically be. Bap. Nice green circle. Hold on, how much do you bet that we've actually retraced the same amount in each example? Oh my goodness, this is going to be insane if it's the same value. Alright, Bitcoin is currently retraced 29% since the previous high. Gold retraced 18% from the previous high. Just astonishingly similar charts. Well, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for tuning in. You folks have a beautiful day. Make sure you buy Bitcoin. I'll talk to you all later. Just draw that big red arrow there. Clean. See you, folks.